In a recent conversation I had with the social media content manager at Yoda One Games, her name is Sandy Smith, we talked about how to actually strategically approach content strategy. What type of content should you make? How should you make it? Where should you post it? Simple stuff, right? But if you don't know the right sort of approach, the right strategy, then you could be wasting a lot of time and a lot of energy. So I hope you enjoy the conversation. So let's try to sort of build out a game plan for a generic game. And we can maybe go over some examples to help flesh that out. But relatively generically, I want to talk about what are the core elements that go into a sort of comprehensive social media marketing plan, excluding UA.
So to start with the plan, you need to choose what social media platforms you're going to be on. You know, if you're new with your game, you might not even have those created. So you need to look at, I guess, like I've mentioned, the audience of your game and what audience will fit best with that platform.
Right.
If you are doing this all by yourself, like I mentioned, I would not suggest starting every single platform. That will be too much for a single person to handle at first. Eventually you can grow into it, but I would maybe pick two to start off with. So for example, if you have a younger audience, maybe moving it to TikTok, like starting a TikTok, or if you have an older audience, maybe like Facebook, like a Candy Crush style game, right?
That's interesting. So I think the first step then is to take stock of your resources and the amount of time that you can actually allocate realistically, right. And then don't overextend yourself because you have to be consistent. Right. And so you're choosing platforms very specifically. But that calculation also has to include, well, what are your resources? If you're a team of right. 3, if you're a team of 6, if you're a team of 12, there's a different conversation to have. You know, is one person going to be dedicated to that? Or are you going to share responsibilities? It depends on the resources, right?
Right.
So you're not saying don't do everything. You're saying choose based on what you can consistently do over time.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Because even, for example, TikTok maybe requires more content than, let's say, Facebook.
Why?
TikTok.
Why is that?
Typically, the algorithm on TikTok is just super fast, right? So the more videos you post, the more views you get in total, the more the algorithm picks you up. Versus Facebook, again, it's a different audience. So even typically, like, the content style is different, right? So I have found with some of our games, photos do better on Facebook. I wouldn't even say that for all games. In one of our games that we publish, I have found that typically has a better response rate. However, you don't post photos on TikTok. You can, but probably not going to have a high view count. So in some instances, it's okay, but it's just a very different style of content. And typically, photos take less time than a TikTok video, depending. So you just really have to, I guess, allocate your time and plan accordingly.
Well, we're going to get into content specifically, so let's hold off on that because I think that the static as opposed to video conversation is very interesting. But what about cross-posting? Is that something that everyone should do to some extent? Like YouTube Shorts, that's a thing, and Reels is a thing. So how do I know where my efforts should overlap? And I can just say, here, intern that I hired, post on all these platforms that I already posted on TikTok. Or should I be very, very specific about not doing that?
So we definitely cross-post with our games that we publish because in a certain extent, you should, yes, is to answer your question. Like you said, YouTube Shorts and TikToks, I mostly post the same thing. However, sometimes like a video is more tailored to TikTok or vice versa. It is more tailored to YouTube. And in that case, no, we don't cross-post. But for the most part, yes, we do. So we cross-post with TikTok, YouTube, and occasionally Facebook Reels, and then Instagram Reels.
So it doesn't necessarily usually hurt to do, but you have to just still be aware that it might not have as much of an impact. For example, posting TikTok content on Facebook might not hit, depending.
Right. Yeah. And if I do make a suggestion, if you are cross-posting, do not post the video with the TikTok watermark.
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
They
don't like
people
that.
Just right. It just honestly, it looks not polished.
Right. Okay. That's good advice. Recently I saw a TikTok. It was about a news story, but it was a TikTok about the reaction of someone on YouTube Shorts. It said a YouTube Shorts viewer 7 years after this event happened, and they were reacting to it in the moment 7 years after it actually happened. Because right now there seems to be a pretty big lag between TikTok and YouTube Shorts, right? Like people post on YouTube Shorts or on TikTok, and then they'll post on YouTube Shorts later.
Yes.
But maybe that's just right now.
Yes, for sure. I know YouTube is also really pushing Shorts. So if you are trying to grow your YouTube algorithm, Shorts are definitely the way to go. But yeah, typically if it's a viral video on TikTok, it will eventually end up on all the platforms. So yes, cross-posting is great. So you can just go ahead and do it yourself, go ahead and do that for everybody. But yeah, try to not include the watermark.
Good advice. Maybe we can get into the specific areas, right? So content specifically, we've been talking about where to share content. I want to talk a bit about KOL marketing and also community and how those sort of affect each other and the dynamics with each one, right? So specifically for content, what would be your game plan if you were working with someone who wanted to, build out a social media marketing strategy and was thinking about, okay, what type of content should I start with? What would be your tips for, okay, this is what you need to do in the first 2 weeks, basically, and then this is your strategy going forward?
First, for the first 2 weeks, post as much as possible, because having a bare page is not gonna attract more followers, right? So I would even, if you're, let's say, for example, you're starting a TikTok, I would say maybe even posting twice a day for 2 weeks. So when people come to your profile, it looks like you're not a new account.
It's a sad place to be. Yeah, no one wants to see one video. That's a red flag. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably not going to follow you, and ultimately, we want to gain followers. That's the kind of the whole purpose of social media.
Right.
So that would be my first step. And in that 2 weeks of posting a lot, I would use that time to try it. You're such a new account. Experiment. See what works. If it more memes, longer TikToks. You could even, try the super short, fast 6-second TikToks like Vine style. Find what works for your game. Like I keep saying, it depends on your game and your audience.
There's no go-to format that's a no-brainer. It's just
unfortunately
very game by game. It's not like a video screen share of the game. Not necessarily a good idea for every game.
It can work. So some games are like, you could maybe consider satisfying, right? They're like satisfying to watch gameplay. Obviously, gameplay videos do really well on certain channels, right? But if you're trying to advertise your game, it might not be the best fit. Now, I am not saying to not try it. I think you should try. You should try everything, honestly. Especially in the first 2 weeks, try everything you can. Learn about your competitors, find a game that is similar to yours, and see what they're doing. See what works.
That's so interesting that even, you're an expert in this and you're essentially saying, I don't know. In terms of content, you have to try stuff because there's no way to a priori go in knowing what to do. You have to test and figure it out quickly for your game.
Well, again, that comes with also because trends are changing so fast. So something that worked last month might not work next month. So you continually have to try stuff, like I keep saying, watch the trends, try and be ahead of the curve. I'm not saying if you did become late to the curve of whatever trend to not do it. You should still do it. Like, show that you're trendy, right? You just might not have as big of a return, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so my takeaway there if I were to just put it in my own terms that my brain can understand. Number one, choose your platforms based on the resources that you can allocate. Then the stuff that you create should be responsive to what's working. So do a lot of experimentation at the start and then quickly figure out what's working, and then maybe start dedicating more time to those things that are working or those formats that are working.
Exactly.
And be busy, be very busy in the first 2 weeks, and then maybe think about it's okay to slow down a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, don't stop by any means.
Right.
You know,
I'm just saying.
But you can scale back. You don't have to post twice every day for the rest of your life.
Okay.